take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been bad. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities and never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving, MVP, I got the record, I might have to pro something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket. Yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits. Yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no wins. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice, I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'm a jacket like Letterman, y'all but not let them in. They gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling, started a chain. The cycle is heaven sent, this is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit. I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah. Said you gon' pull up, then settle it, yeah. I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch I step in it, yeah. And I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here. Watch how I touch down, pulling plans out the clutch. Everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now. Have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my, yeah.
Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They've been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Murder drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They've been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They've been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you guys can see, I am in the Frankie Candles studio. I am not in Vegas. Unfortunately, guys, I am unable to make it to Vegas. I was trying to make a last-minute trip, but it just didn't work out. I have some stuff I have to get done here, and I was just traveling. It was super last minute, but I'm happy to be here live for the CandleMafia. The plus side of this, guys, is I had some extra time now, so I did film a tutorial today that I'm going to be dropping a little later this week. It might be about an anchored VWAP. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm going to drop that at some point this week. I was going to say next week, but at some point this week, we will be dropping that, guys. But what is going on, Mafia? Welcome back to another Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm not going to lie. We didn't go live yesterday, guys, and it feels like 6 weeks since I've been live. We were live on Friday. I don't know what's going on. It's like when I travel, I feel like I've been gone forever. But here we are for another live stream, guys, with Bitcoin potentially flashing some higher time frame bullish signs still. We've been looking at that 2-day money flow crossover into the green, waiting for it to potentially cross over, and we are now seeing that potentially happen, or we're actually starting to see that happen. Is this a sign of new all-time highs to come? I'm going to break down the charts for you guys. We could still, I actually prefer a little bit more of a pullback here. It doesn't mean we're going to get it. As a matter of fact, I would almost bet against that just because a lot of times when you want something, the market will not give it to you. But I'm going to take a look at the key levels with you guys, kind of what I'm expecting next here on price action. We'll talk about some local levels. I am in a little bit of a scalp short here. I'll break that down for you guys a little bit. And I want to talk about some of the key levels below, where I'm looking for long positions, and those next targets to the upside in case that 2-day money flow crossover indeed does send us to new all-time highs. I'm not going to lie, that 2-day money flow crossover is looking pretty good. I'm not going to lie. But shout out to the CandleMafia, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in and spending your precious time here with your boy Frankie Candles and the CandleMafia, the best crypto community on Earth, not on YouTube, but on Earth, guys. So shout out to the CandleMafia. We got Jesse, our like police, in the chat, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate this free content, and if you want to see that, tutorial that we're gonna drop this week, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But shout out to you guys. Let's see. We got New Earth in the chat. What is going on, bro? Said doorway to lower prices. Shout out to New Earth. We got Vegas Claw in the chat. Shout out to Vegas Claw. We got Darren Does Things, Tyler Durden, Tony D, and I know a lot of the mods. I think some of the mods are actually no. I think. No, actually, I don't think Crypto Anon's in Vegas. But yeah, shout out to all the mods. Thank you guys for being here. Show the mods some love. Shout out to Gen Z in the chat. What is going on? Said Perry said, Frankie, we missed you. And we're back here with you guys. Let's go. I was in the Discord a little bit yesterday, but unfortunately I was traveling, so I was unable to go live. I tried to get home in time, but our flight got delayed. It was a nightmare. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Dave Hagen. Says, so on your Memorial Day festivities, did you have potato salad or pasta salad? Come on, we're Italian here, and we don't even call it pasta salad. We call it macaroni salad. Shout out to who said it? Shout out to Dave. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you as always. We got Jay Violet in the chat. Hugo's in the chat. Jedi Skirk. What is going on? We got everybody in the chat today. Perry, shout out to you, man. K Diggity. Phoebe says hi. Actually, Phoebe's mad at me. I had to board her at a local goat farm while I was traveling, but she's back, and she's a little fussy, but she's happy now, guys. But without further ado, we got a lot to look at here on the charts, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So, guys, here we are. Bitcoin continuing the grind to the upside. Now, like I said, I did take a little a local scalp short here, guys. Now, that does not mean that I think Bitcoin is going to zero. I do want to start off the stream by saying I do remain, as we have through this entire pump to the upside, I do remain bullish here for potential new all-time highs to come at some point here soon. And the reason for that, guys, is based off very specific information that we have on Market Cypher B and just generally this massively bullish market structure that we have. So again, just because I am in a scalp short does not mean I'm anticipating it to go to zero. I am not going to expect this to come down very much, but I'm going to talk about those local key levels. But first, I want to start off on the higher time frames, guys, because there are some interesting things on the chart here, right? So as always, we're going to start here on the weekly time frame. VWAP is still trying to come to the downside here. I do think, even if we do come up to new all-time highs first, I do think the next significant correction in the market will likely come when we see that weekly red dot. Even in massive uptrends, guys, like once you start seeing those, even this weekly red dot right here, you get the push to the upside, you get the weekly red dot, you get a little pullback. So, any kind of like significant correction, I will be watching that weekly VWAP, which we kind of check in on every single week, and it is still trying to come to the downside, but we have not gotten the red dot just yet. Taking a look at the 6-day VWAP coming to the downside as well. 5-day getting pretty close to that zero line. But the one nice thing here, guys, is that higher time frame money flow. When we talk about potential new all-time highs, we want to talk about the money flow, right? The money flow indicates the longer-term trend, right? The general continuation of that trend. It doesn't mean you can't get pullbacks, but overall, his money flow is continuing to spike to the upside here. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see, generally we were trending out pretty aggressively here, and we have now seen that money flow come up in a pretty decent way. We put in a little bit of a higher high here, and we are continuing to trend that money flow to the upside, which is exactly what we want if we want the continuation into new all-time highs. If we come on over to the 4-day, you guys can see that red dot is looking to print. This is kind of the only thing. These are the only things on the chart, in my opinion, that would be calling for a bigger pullback, are these higher time frame red dots. But if we bring it back to the 2-day red dot that we just got confirmed, it didn't even really give us that much of a pullback, right? You get the green dot, you get a push to the upside, you start to cool off, you get the red dot to print on the 2-day, and oftentimes, guys, in aggressive pumps to the upside, when you get a red dot on the on Market Cypher B, oftentimes, it does kind of just result in either a little bit of a pullback or even just some kind of like sideways price action. And that's kind of what we've seen here on the 2-day. So we're hoping, and 3-day red dot printing as well. I kind of went from the 4-day to the 2-day, but the 3-day red dot is printing, which obviously could potentially give us a little bit of a pullback. However, again, I would hope that this 3-day red dot is going to play out similarly to the 2-day red dot, not really giving us too much of a scary dump, right? It's just kind of like, it ended in a green candle, right? Which is very, very nice. But that 3-day red dot is printing. This is worth talking about. Again, not a massive bearish signal, but more importantly, if we look at that money flow, guys, we are hoping that this red dot on the 3-day does not give us an aggressive push to the downside, dragging that money flow into the red. And we talked about this last week, why I'm not necessarily anticipating that or taking this 3-day money flow trending to the downside as like a massive bearish signal. Could it potentially cross into the red and give us a massive dump? Maybe. But again, with the way that the higher time frame money flow, like the 4-day coming into the continuing up into the green, 5-day trending to the upside, this is really what we want to see for the continuation of the trend into higher prices, hopefully new all-time highs. And now that we come on down to the 2-day, guys, the big signal that we've been looking at on Market Cypher B for a potential continuation up was obviously this money flow on the 2-day. Not just the money flow, guys. It's the money flow in confluence with our monthly green dot, not red dot, monthly green dot printing here with that 2-day money flow crossing over into the green. This is one of those big signals we've been looking at. We were okay with little fake outs to the downside, and shout out to Darren Delsings. He actually mentioned this in the premium live stream last week. He was like, do you think this is going to fake back out into the red? And I kind of talked about why I'm not necessarily anticipating that. And you can see we put in a low here. We put in the higher low, and then we came into the green, and then we came back into the red. But it was another higher low, and we are now starting to see that money flow cross back over into the green, which generally makes me bullish. And again, it doesn't mean we can't continue to pull back a little bit, but just in general, over the longer term, this is what we want to see, especially with that monthly green dot. We covered this on the live stream a bunch of times last week, talking about every single 2-day money flow crossover into the green has pretty much indicated, I marked these out here with these vertical lines, has pretty much indicated the next leg up in the bull market. We had that massive pump on the last 2-day money flow crossover, and then we had another one right here, another massive leg to the upside, and these are very, very similar situations that we've seen. We're in a similar situation that we've seen back here, right? Even here, we kind of were bing-bonging around in this volume profile. We started to leave that range, and then that 2-day money flow crossover was coming into the green, and both of these crossovers were both confluent with monthly green dots. So again, is this a guarantee? You could just see here perfectly, right? Green dot on the monthly. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? You have the green dot printing on the monthly. That 2-day money flow crosses over, indicating the trend will continue up. Bada boom. Same thing here. You got a 2-day money flow crossover happen a little bit before that monthly green dot printed, but essentially it was right about the same time for another continuation to the upside, and that 2-day money flow crossover even gave like a little bit of an earlier signal here. That 2-day money flow crossed over, nice little, right before the bigger breakout, and then as we trended up here, that monthly green dot printed, and the money flow continued up, massive leg to the upside, and we are just taking information here and comparing it. We have the exact same thing printing here on the charts right now, which could potentially point towards those all-time highs, which is why I do remain generally bullish here over the longer term, guys, because this is, yeah, other than that, right, we're just still in massively bullish market structure, and yeah, it does seem to be pretty good here. Now, you might say to yourself, but Frankie, we're dumping, oh my God. Like I said, I did take a little bit of a scalp short here. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys really quickly. Bada boom, bada bing. So right here over on Femex, up about $700 on that little trade. I did just enter this recently. I entered based off of some order flow confirmations, as well as the fact that if we zoom in here to some lower time frames, I'll come on over to the 1 hour, pull up that local volume profile that we have, and just like we look at every single time, guys, we come up to the volume profile or the value area high. If you could put in some bearish confirmations as you push above that high, you could look for potential moves back into the range towards that POC. Once you lose that POC, you look to get that continuation down towards that value area low, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, Frankie, what the heck? You didn't make it all the way down to that value area low, which is actually true, but, it's not a guarantee that you're going to make it all the way down there, to be quite honest. Like, more often than, like, this is honestly pretty rare, right, that you front run that value area low, which could be another reason to feel a little bit more bullish. But I want to talk about this little pullback here, guys. Just because, again, right, once we came up here, we have a nice little deviation above the high. We have the higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our 1 hour momentum waves. Money flow is in the green. Again, this is very difficult for me to kind of explain, especially if you're new here, right? You might be saying, like, well, if you're bullish, why are you in a short? And the idea here, guys, is this is a scalp short position, right? This is not looked at as a massive short position for a massive drop to, new lows. But, and really the reason I was willing to take this up here with a little bit more risk, it's not really like, in my opinion, like the highest probability giga short, but we did have a short set up in the premium Discord from the tippy top here at $112,000, like literally looking for the exact confirmations that we got. And as you guys know, if you watched the live stream last week, I did take the position there. I showed my 1.4% gain. Woo! But really what happened here was I took that short. We got to move to the downside. I just moved my stop loss to break even too soon, and I wound up getting stopped out of that position for 1.4. I got stopped out in profit, right? But pretty much break even. So I did just, I'm not holding any shorts here. And again, I'm not anticipating this to play out for long term. This is looked at as a scalp. Like I said, or as we just saw, already up about $700, $638. That's how fast your P&L can go up and down. But yeah, so I'm just going to took that as a little bit of a scalp short. Like I said, order flow confirmations. We did have some bearish CVD up there, as well as the 1 hour bearish divergence. And we also had some lower time frame bearish divergences as well. You have the higher highs on the 30-minute, lower highs on your momentum waves, money flow starting to trend out here. And another thing that gave me a little bit more confidence here to take that, this was kind of a chaotic trade just because I was filming a tutorial. It's crazy, guys. I balanced so many things. It's so hard between the Discord, YouTube, filming tutorials, etc., and the trades in general. But yeah, this was like I was filming the tutorial, trying to look at the chart at the exact same time. I was in bar replay mode filming, so I'm like trying to check the live chart and see what's going on. But I was able to catch that little entry, and again, it's just in the context of this volume profile. Maybe we hold a higher low and continue up, but another thing that could be pointing towards a little bit more of a correction here could be the 4-hour red dot printing, as you can see in all of its glory right there, and our 15-minute money flow crossover into the red, which literally happened right here, indicating the trend would continue down, and indeed, we did see that next little drop to the downside. So yeah, if we see this money flow continue into the red with that 4-hour red dot printing, we might be able to get a little bit more of a continuation to the downside, but I am not looking for this thing to go to zero, guys. Like I said, I am overall bullish right now. So, key levels here locally are going to be, let me go pull that to current price action here. Value area low sitting right here at about $107,229. The POC does sit up here at about $109,600. And then the value area high sitting here at about $110,290. So these are the local levels that I'm going to be looking at. Maybe we can range around here. But like I said, guys, last week we've been looking at a very, very large key level of support on the, I don't even want to say the higher time frames, but if we pull up our larger current macro volume profile, you guys can see here, value area high is going to be an absolutely key level to look at. And this is the same level we looked at last week, saying if we could pull down there, right? And I'll actually just pull this up real quick so you guys can get some context here. I'll pull up the short from the premium Discord. Really what we were looking for here was an SFP, right? We were looking to come up and sweep liquidity above the high here into key resistance to potentially come back down. This line was drawn before price action came down. As you can see, it's not perfect, but we were looking for that SFP with some bearish divergences, and we looked to come back down towards the previous all-time high, and then we knew once we wound up losing that previous all-time high, we could look for that continuation down, and I was hoping personally to come all the way down to the value area high at about 105,800. Obviously, plenty of room here. This almost played out to final TP. But plenty of room to take profit, move your stop loss to break even. And again, like I said, I got stopped out of that trade at like literally break even up here, or 1.4% profit. But that's kind of why I did take that position. Another reason why I was like, hey, listen, if we're going to dump here, even down to here, I want to get into a position. And this did look like a decent spot to do it based off the value area high and the fact that this is also a golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement when pulled from the high to the low, right? So in case we are going to continue down there, right, this would be the area to be looking for a potential lower high to continue down, to break the lows and come down to the value area high of the macro range. Now, we do have some confluence on this level, but just in general, just looking at it from a volume profile perspective, which is our main tool that I like to use to trade, right? Value area high, we're hoping that if we do come down there, we can stick this as support to continue our overall uptrend to potentially all-time highs. Now, I would prefer, right? I would have loved, my general plan here was hopefully to come hit that, over the weekend or, on this dump to the downside to potentially look for a new long position. But obviously we didn't make it down there. If we do, right, I will still be looking for bounces in this zone. We have the value area high. We also have a daily level perfectly confluent with that value area high. We also have a golden pocket. Let me just pull this real quick. Bada boom, from the low to the high. You guys can see golden pocket retracement comes right in on that value area high. Daily horizontal, perfect confluence. And then just below that, you do have the 786 at about $104,165. So this does still remain a very, very important level of support. If we do come down, I would be okay coming down to test some of these levels to potentially continue the uptrend. I am not panicking, right? I am not panicking if we come down here. I am more likely going to be looking for higher lows and higher highs, depending on the confirmations that we get at this level if we do come down there. I cannot guarantee that we get that, right? Again, like I said, a lot of times when you're looking for something to come in on the charts, very often it is more likely that it won't happen, right? A lot of times what you hope for, the market will just kind of be like, right? Shout out to Haley. But anyway, funny enough, that's a little bit of a crypto reference. But anyway, this is still a big key level of support, guys. We do have the confluence down there. And, if we do continue down, this is still going to be the level I'm watching, right? Now, if, right, based off everything that we just looked at, and we do get a continuation up first. Major targets to the upside remain exactly the same, looking between about $112,000 and $114,000. That's our local targets to the upside. We do have some higher targets above. I'll go over those in just a minute, but I want to cover some other levels before we do that, right? So at the end of the day, if we do continue to cool off here, I'm hoping that we come down here with bullish confirmation so I can look for a bigger bounce. If we are not going to get that, right, and we're going to come up first, this all-time high, previous all-time high at 109,880, as you guys know, if you watch the channel, you'll be very familiar with these levels. The previous all-time at 109,880 is a very, very, very big level to get above. And there's an even more specific level up here that I'll be watching, but just in general, you know, this is kind of what made us feel bearish, right? We came up, we had the short setup up here, and then once we lost that all-time high, right, we were looking for hopefully a retest of that value area high. We didn't get it. You can't call every single move to the dollar, but, you know, generally plenty of room to make some profit. So I would say this, right? Number one level to reclaim as support to call for the bigger move to the upside is going to be the previous all-time high, 109,880, and then other than that, right, when we pull our fib from the high to the low here locally, golden pocket, 786. This is the level to get above. Specifically, this 786 at $110,887. I'll actually get the actual technical level here. 110,8. Yeah, I think it was 110,885. This is the level, in my opinion, that will very likely, if broken, send us into those new all-time highs. Why is that, right? Well, just generally, if you're looking for a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low, this is the area for that lower high to come in at. Meaning, if we get back above that 786, this now invalidates the idea of the lower high coming in and would greatly increase the chances of coming into a new all-time high, again, sitting between about $112,000 and $114,000. We just barely front-ran that Fibonacci extension level at 112K on the short to the downside. So that's just generally going to be the next target to the upside if we continue up. Now, this is very similar, guys. Like any time frame that we look at, anytime we look at price action here, one of the things that we always look at in anticipation of continuations of downtrends, if you guys remember, if you've been watching the channel for a little while, you will know, right? This 786 was the last opportunity that price had to make a lower high before putting in a lower low within the larger trend. Obviously, we broke above that level, but you know, we even said back then, right, when we're looking at that, let me come out of, I had bar replay mode selected there. When we look at that, right, that 786 was the real level. Well, actually, the golden pocket was really the level that I genuinely called for new all-time, high probability of new all-time highs. But at the end of the day, technically, you could have rejected that 786 because that's the technical level that would be the, you know, between the 786 and the golden pocket. That's where you would look for the lower high. But we knew once you get above that 786, not only, you know, obviously looking for the value area high to get hit, but once you hold support on that 786, which you guys can see we did perfectly here, right? That is what gives you the invalidation of that lower high and a very high probability of new all-time highs to come. And it's the same kind of theory that we're using here, just very, you know, hyper locally, right? You know, again, high, low, lower high, lower low. If you get above that 786, invalidates that idea. And I think at that point, break 110,885, very high chances of coming into that all-time high because we've invalidated that thought process of the lower high coming in. And, you know, I'll be honest here. I don't even know if we're going to get that bigger pullback. I have to say, like, just generally, I always kind of bet against what I want in the market, right? Like, I would much prefer to get a bigger retracement, to get a fresh long position before coming back up. But I don't know. I've been stepped on by the market enough times to know that it does not want to give you what you want, right? And that's why I just trade the chart in front of me, catching that little scalp short from the downside here, or to the downside here. And yeah, other than that, right, that's the key level to watch. If we break $110,885, that's where I'm looking for all-time highs, 112 to 114, and then above that, guys, there's a couple of other levels that I'm going to be looking at if we pull up our upper targets here. If we get above if we get above that $114,000 level, the next real level that I'm going to be looking at is going to be, let me actually get that other level on the chart, right? So 112 to 113, and then I'll pull up these other targets. We do have some bigger Fibonacci levels sitting closer to between $118,145 and then that local last fib level here at 119K. These are the two big zones to look at. If we break above the 786 at 110,885, I'm looking up in here between 112,212 and 113,961. I can't guarantee that we're just going to get the rejection from here, right? We're gonna have to assess the price action as it develops in there, kind of see what happens. If we just break right through that and we continue up, this is that next big target to the upside that I will be watching again between 118 and about 119K. Now, 120K might be looked at as a little bit of a psychological level, so you always want to keep that in mind. But as far as the Fibonacci extensions that I'm looking at, these are the targets to watch. And to be quite honest, the Fibonacci extension targets have been absolutely perfect for these moves to the upside, guys. It's how we were able to predict the move to 107K right here, where we were going against our strategy at resistance, just saying, hey, I think that Fibonacci level gets hit. I am not, although I'm typically bearish here, we are going to look for that push into the Fibonacci extension. We wound up getting that literally playing out exactly into the $107,000 extension level. You can see that tapped right here. And then again, for the move up to 112K, we used the same exact strategy. We barely front ran it, but still, anytime you're looking at a chart, guys, it's never going to be an exact line on the chart. It's always going to be like a zone, give or take a couple bucks. And you can see that next target indeed was the magnet for price, and we pushed up there. And where'd we get the rejection from, right? If you missed the long position to the upside, right, you could just wait for that next short setup for the drop to the downside, which was absolutely perfect. And this is pretty much what I'm looking at, guys. Generally, still 100% still bullish. You might ask yourself, well, Frankie, if we start a bigger correction, what if we lose your key level of support? Where's your line in the sand where you'll be calling for that bigger move to the downside, potentially towards that point of control of the range? Sitting at about $97,000. And again, guys, all these levels have remained the same. We haven't come down and tested them yet. So if we lose the 786 here, key support at $104,200, $222 to be exact. If we wind up losing that level, there's one last level that I would be looking at, and it's going to be the daily naked point of control, sitting right here at about $103,105. I would be okay, right, pushing down to this level. And again, we don't know exactly how it's going to play out. If we do come down there, hopefully we just hold the value area high, golden pocket, 786 zone. If we do come down there and we start losing that level, honorable mention, daily naked point of control. If we start to lose this level, one thing to really understand here, guys, is that we do have liquidity sitting below these lows at about, really the liquidity starts at about $102,000 from everybody who was longing inside this range. Their stop losses are going to be living below. So, in my opinion, right, the general line in the sand for me is probably going to be $100,000 unless we were going to come down here, right? Sweep these lows into this lower daily naked point of control at 99.5 and get an aggressive rip back up. Like I'm talking a V-shaped bounce to the upside. I really don't want to lose 100K, to be honest. Like the last line of defense here is to, SFP this low. And if we don't do that, in my personal opinion, I think it is going to be a higher probability that we start that bigger trend to the downside, potentially targeting between $97,000 and $96,000 towards the POC of that macro range, right? And this is the same thing that we have been looking at on the live stream for quite some time. So I don't really want to cover it for too long because I don't want to just beat the dead horse. You guys know I love animals, but that is, again, I'm totally fine coming down here. I will be looking for longs, even if we slip down there a little bit. Hopefully we don't have to, sweep this liquidity because that's kind of where it gets a little bit scary because, in the moment you could lose it, and then on a higher time frame it might look like an SFP before getting that bigger bounce up. But, hopefully we can hold that first zone of support. Just remember that daily naked point of control, honorable mention, $103,100, we'll call it. I'd be okay getting a little wick down there. But at the end of the day, the reason I don't really want to lose this range, guys, is because if we lose it, like we've covered many times on the live stream last week, it's just difficult, right? Because if we do get, a sweep of this liquidity down here, and I could pull it up on the heat map for you guys in a second, but, at that point, right, we can look for the long position. You just have to understand that that value area high is going to be major, major resistance and a very, very important level because, as we know, if you get accepted back into this range and you get stuck under the value area high, technically, the next likely place for price to go is the POC. It doesn't mean you can't break out here, but you just have to understand the context of that trade, right? If I do take a long position down here, I'm going to understand that, like, hey, this is key resistance. Let me watch price action as it interacts with this level. And if it looks bullish, right, I could maybe just take a little bit of profit, move my stop loss to break even, and then hope for it to continue to the upside. At that point, it would be a guaranteed winning trade because if I get stopped out, I'll get stopped out at break even after taking profit, aka getting stopped out in profit. But just to kind of explain the context there, right? Like I just really hope that if we do come back down to this value area high, we don't get stuck under this high, right? Because it just generally is not the most bullish thing. But it's not really until we start losing these lows that I am looking down towards 96 and 97K. And we'll cover that if and when it actually happens. Again, we don't have to really worry about it right now because we're pretty far away. But I want you guys to have these levels on your chart in case we do see the big dump to the downside, right? You guys have to be aware of where those key levels are so you're not panic selling the bottom. And hopefully, if you're in the premium Discord, hopefully some of you guys are still holding that short from the high. But yeah, and if that does happen, I'll be very happy with my entry here, getting that last little retracement, that short entry, and the push to the downside. So yeah. But in general, guys, one more thing I do want to cover before we move on. And the reason why I am kind of skeptical of even coming down back to this value area high 786 zone is if we take a look at the daily time frame. VWAP is approaching the zero line. Now, we did get a little rejection here on that zero line. As you guys can see, we tried to come up, got a little bit of a rejection. But just in general here, if we look at that potential green dot, when that does come in here, right, I'm not even mentioning the 2-day money flow crossover into the green. But if we get that green dot on the daily, check out that 80-minute and 90-minute money flow, which actually, on this dump to the downside, actually came out pretty aggressively. But take a look at that 90-minute money flow. As if this could continue to potentially just trend to the upside, right? Again, just general trend. When it comes to money flow, you're looking at general trend. These are not just instant signals. These indicate the overall trend, which we all know within trends, there are ups and downs, right? This actually doesn't look as good as it was looking before just because of that fake out. But again, you could put a higher low in there. If this continues to trend to the upside, if we're going to hold the aggressive trend here and not make our move to the value area high, that green dot on the daily with the 90-minute and 80-minute money flow crossover might be the thing to look at. And again, I'll be honest, right? Like looking at this now after the after this money flow crossover, it doesn't look as good as it was looking before. If we come into bar replay mode, earlier today there we go. Earlier today, this looked like pretty decent, right? Because we were above the previous all-time high. Money flow was about to cross over into the green on the 80-minute, and that daily green dot was looking to potentially print soon. But now that has actually live in the flesh right now, that context is changing slightly. I wouldn't say it's invalidated, but it's just not looking as beautiful as it was earlier today. But again, we'll have to let that price action develop, watch that 80-minute and 90-minute money flow, and see if that green dot prints. Maybe that's where we get the continuation to the upside. But again, listen, I would low-key prefer to come down a little bit deeper for another bigger long position. Let that short continue to pay out, and then look for the new long position up to new all-time highs, right? And again, until we lose this low down here at about 100,800, we could still see that, right? You could still potentially get a bigger pullback, right? Sweep some of these lows and then continue back up. But yeah, I would say between 105,827 and 104,146, that's really the level that we want to be watching. And hopefully we could just bounce off there because, again, yeah, I just don't want to get stuck. We don't want to spend time down here because it just kind of messes up the context. If we dip in and bounce, that's going to look really good. If we get a dip in there and we start rejecting the high and we start playing around with this, it just gets to be a little bit more of a difficult place to long, right? Because you're just basically longing into resistance. And when you look at the overall context of the volume profiles, right? Let me hide some of these upper targets real quick. Bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing. I'll just hide these as well just to clean up the chart. Actually, no, I'll keep that up there. When you look at this on a higher time frame, right, you're just looking at this value area high. Technically, right, this is the area where you're typically deviating above the volume profile. If you get sucked back into that range, it is just generally looked at as more bearish. Again, not impossible to bounce out of there, but it just makes it a little bit more of a difficult trade. Again, because you're just looking at your volume profiles, wondering, are we going to get the full fill of the range like we did here, right, when we reclaimed the value area low? We knew the POC was next. Once we got above the POC, look for the value area high. It's the same thing on the way down. Value area high to POC to value area low. And overall, that's the general idea here with the volume profiles. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult because in the back of your head, you're thinking hey, I know we can bounce out of here, especially if we see the bullish signs on market cipher B. But then you're just kind of fighting that demon in the back of your head, oh, you're in the profile. You're in the profile. You're going to the POC, man. You're going to the POC. So it just becomes a lot more difficult. So that's why I like to explain in depth why I prefer to hold certain levels. It doesn't mean that it's super bearish if you lose that level. It just makes it a little bit easier to look for those bigger pushes up. So there we go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Peter said, can you show the 2-day, 3-day, and 4-day? We actually did just take a look at the 2-day. 2-day money flow crossover into the green. And again, this takes time to play out, guys. Like, we could potentially fake back out again. But when it comes to money flow, it is general trend. Same thing we said here. Hey, you could fake out into the red, but as long as you continue the overall trend and that money flow comes into the green, especially with that monthly green dot, it's typically been a very good sign, as we covered in the beginning of the live stream, covering those that market cipher B 1/16th market cipher B 1/16th strategy bullish setup. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Terry Darling. Welcome in. Good to see you in here. Says, yo, what up, Frankie? Cooking in that kitchen, bringing that sauce. Let's go. Shout out to Terry every single weekday right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get it. Don't forget to smash that like button if you appreciate the free content. All right. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Hugo. Said, why does TradingView withhold time frames from us poors? Shout out to Hugo's. Don't call yourself a poor. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, shout out to Hugo's. Yeah, if you're using a free version of TradingView, obviously you are going to be limited at the time on the time frames that you can watch here. But again, you know, to be quite honest with you guys, I would recommend if you're going to buy TradingView, I think it's like there's the free version and then the one step up. The cheapest paid version is really all you need. That's what enables you to get those multiple time frames. But above that, to be quite honest, I don't even think you really need to go for the higher end subscriptions, right? Because really all you really what you want here are the time frames. That's like the most important thing for me. But again, you know, as long as you're able to look at them, I don't know exactly which ones are available on the free version, but just don't feel limited. Like, don't feel like you can't trade or like you're not going to be profitable or anything like that if you can't see all the time frames I'm looking at. It's not the case, but it definitely does help to be able to like kind of sneak down to those lower time frames, right? Obviously. But yeah, shout out to Hugo's, bro. Let's see. We got Chemistry Bro in the chat, says Frankie Candles. Shout out to Hardy Potter for the 10 gifted. Oh wait, hang on one second here. Let's put up. Yo. Shout out to shout out to Harry Potter. Let's get it, baby. Let's go. Gifting those 10 Frankie Candles memberships. That was a typo. I thought I thought his name actually was Hardy Potter. But shout out to Harry Potter. Thank you for those gifted memberships, bro. And shout out to everybody who got one. Drop a thank you to Harry Potter. You're a wizard, Harry. Shout out to Harry, bro. I appreciate you so much, and I know the Mafia does as well. As Bitcoin continues, short position now up $866. Again, I don't want to scare anybody. It's not like, you know, I always say, right? Like, it's not, I'm not expecting this to go to zero. So, you know, again, like, look at that as a scalp position. And again, you know, we could just pull up those local time frames here. Not local time frames, local key levels here. And we'll see. You know, at this point, right, you deviate above the high, bearish confirmations, lose the POC. You could look for a potential continuation down to the low. I would consider that somewhat lucky, to be honest with you guys, though. Again, I know I took the trade, but again, you know, it would be very nice if tomorrow we come up here and we are playing around with that $105,000 to $103,000 zone that we looked at just before. I would consider myself. I'd be like, thank God for once the market gave me what I wanted. But let's see here. Yo, shout out to Shunzin, said Harry Potter and the Candle of Fire. Shout out. You could probably ask AI to write a short Harry Potter story in CandleMafia fashion. That would be absolutely sick. Let's see. Shout out to Zigzag, said that isn't Cypher on Orox. Be careful, brother. It's actually Fu Manchu. Shout out to Zigzag. I don't know if you're talking to someone in the chat, but this is Market Cypher B. This is not Fu Manchu. You might be talking to somebody in the chat, though. But let's see here. Tony Roaz said, start with the 30-day trial of TradingView first. I'm on it right now. Shout out to Tony Roaz. And just to get you guys ready, obviously far out here, but you know, when they have their next Black Friday sale, that is typically where they give the best deals. All TradingView or all trading platforms, like everybody gives like amazing Black Friday deals in trading. It's insane. Let's see. Shout out to Steve, says, shout out to Steve. He says, I think we are in a lockout rally to 150K. Might get in at 99K next week or two. But after that, rocket. Yeah, shout out to Steve. You know, if we do get the bigger correction, I am again. If we get a bigger pullback, guys, I am looking for longs as of right now. And once that changes, I will be the first person to drop a video or jump on a live stream to let you guys know exactly what I'm looking at. But until then, just so you guys are aware of all the key levels locally, I will be watching. maybe we hold this. Let me pull an anchored VWAP here. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I don't know if we're going to fill this volume profile in full. They're not always 100%, right? Again, there's a very high probability once you get back into the low, you go to the POC and the high. Once you reject the high, go back to the POC, lose the POC, go back to the low. But you could see we front ran the low here. So, again, we've talked about this many a times in the past. I do think the Max Payne situation right now is going to be, right? It's the same thing on the way down. In the bear markets, right? Like, everybody is like, oh my God, the dump has got to be over, right? We got to go back up. And obviously in bear markets, it just gets stepped on, dumped to the downside. This has got to be it. Nope. Another dump to the downside. It's the same thing when you're coming up, right? Just like in a bear market, the Max Payne scenario is to come down. In a bull market, sometimes, especially, and I always say this, right? One of the main things that makes me think that the Max Payne scenario here is a continuation to the upside is simply the fact of how bearish people were feeling at this low. This means that a lot of people were either selling their bags or just not taking advantage of the dips or what have you, right? In my opinion, I think there are a lot of people waiting for a gigantic pullback, thinking like, oh, I'll have a chance. And that might just mean the Max Payne scenario is to just keep flying to the upside, which would be low-key nice for our spot bags. But again, I would like that bigger pullback at least down to that value area high. I just don't know if it's promised, guys. I like to be fully transparent here. When I'm very confident in something, we'll look at those levels. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just, as we can see, right? We look down towards that level here. We did not get there, right? Price is just, again, like even here we talked about this, right? Holding those higher lows, not sweeping the lows, right? Just continuing to press to the upside while everyone's waiting for pullbacks. So I do think that the, in general, over time, the higher probability here, even if we do get the bigger pullback, is still all-time highs. And again, once I flip bearish, I will be the first person to let you guys know. Let's see. Bullish Operate in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Let's see. Shout out to Tony Ross. Said, yeah, I'm not missing that sale this year. They had an Easter sale as well. Oh, shout out to Tony Ross. So watch out for the sales on the holidays, guys. All right, let's see here. Yeah, no big. Shout out to Samano. Said no big pullback until September. Yeah, definitely a possibility here, but we'll see what that 4-hour red dot gives us with this 15-minute money flow crossover. Again, local value area low is sitting at about $107,260. If we deviate below that low, we can say, well, hey, maybe we're going to deviate into our next key level of support near that $105,000 to $104,000 zone, and then we could potentially look for retracements back into that range, and then eventually, just before we move on to the altcoins, guys, that 786 is really the key level. Let's say we just get a random pump overnight. 110,885 is the level to flip in order to call for new all-time highs. Because again, like what else are we going to reject here, right? We do have some, I believe, some daily naked point of controls up there. Yeah, we have daily MPOC at about 100. We have a daily MPOC at about 111,800. But again, in the anticipation of a continued downtrend, you're hoping, right? If you want price to continue down, you're hoping that rejection remains at that 786. Once you flip that, it invalidates that idea, and it greatly increases the chances to new all-time highs into the next targets that we just went over. If you missed that, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get all the sauce. Let's see. Shout out to Hugo. Said my long is teetering around break even still. Shout out to Hugo's. Come on, baby, pump it. I'll sacrifice my short for your long, Hugo's. Let's go. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Steve. Said he says the real question is, when do alts start their pump? So let's go ahead. We're keep an eye here on the local price action on Bitcoin as we kind of bang bong around here. We're probably going to get a retracement to the upside here once we get that 15-minute green dot. But again, remember the green dots indicate the ebbs and flows, right? And then the money flow is going to indicate the overall trends, right? So the idea of coming down to this value area low would be in the context of that money flow crossover. But we'll see if we get that little retracement to the upside. And I'll just mark this out to kind of show you guys how we look at the price, right? And how we can see things move before it actually happens, right? Green dot, I could anticipate a potential retracement up, right? But if that money flow continues out, we could look for the continuation down. So we'll see. We'll see if we get that retracement up off that 15-minute green dot, and we'll see how that plays out. But we'll keep an eye on this. But I want to take a look at some of the altcoins as well, guys. Shout out to Tony Roas, says market value areas, market cipher B with moving averages and fibs is goated. Shout out to Tony Roas. Like I said, keep an eye out for this tutorial that we're going to drop this week, guys, going over the anchored VWAP, which is another key tool that you can use. And once you start combining that with everything we talk about on this channel, you could start finding these high probability trade setups just like we do in the CandleMafia. So let's see. Yeah, shout out to Cigar. He says alter just pure gambling at this point. So let's go ahead and jump on into some of these altcoins. We'll come back to checking on Bitcoin in a minute. We'll see if any alerts get hit. I'll actually set an alert below this low as well. So we'll get alerted if we get the retracement up, and then we'll get alerted if we get the breakdown as well. Let's see. Can we see dominance? Yeah, so we'll start off when we take a look at the altcoins. We'll take a first start off with the Bitcoin dominance. Obviously, let's come on down here to or up here to a higher time frame. BTC.D. Take a sip of that black coffee. Let's see. Bada boom. Okay, so situation on dominance is pretty much, right, if you've been watching the channel, this is kind of remaining the same here, right? We have come up, right, just in general, taking a look at the higher time frames. We have this volume profile pulled from back here in 2020 and 2021. We have now gotten accepted back. We've gotten accepted back into this value area, which is obviously not the most bullish thing, bullish for dominance, not the most bullish thing for altcoins, though. But, once you get into this range, we tap that POC, we flip the value area low to support. We are now playing around with that point of control. Locally, the key level remains the same here, guys. This was our golden pocket, right? This is what we were looking at last week, 64.29%. You're hoping, if you were just like on regular price chart, right? Now, obviously, we're looking at dominance here, but just like how you do TA on a general price chart, if you get a retracement, right, if we're going to look for a continuation of a downtrend, right, which is what we want for altcoins, right, you've come up, you've come down, you want to put in a lower high and a lower low to start more of a downtrend, which could be the start of a bigger breakdown. And I'll talk, obviously the line in the sand for that bigger breakdown is going to be about 61-ish percent, 60.95%. But if we're going to be looking for that low, that downtrend to continue, the downtrend's likely to come in between the golden pocket and the 786 Fibonacci retracement. High, low, lower high, lower low, right? And you're hoping that that is the case, in which case the next key level of support would be the value area low, at about 60.95%. And then if we could start losing that value area low, that is where I think you might have a better chance of getting a bigger dump down on dominance and potentially starting what they like to call altcoin season. Until that happens, we have to be very careful, because even if we pull back here, like, you got to be careful around support, right? Because if we don't lose this value area low, technically you're still within the volume profile, right? And when we look at this, the last time we were inside a range like this, right, we come down to the value area low, we lose the value area low, that's where the big dump down started. And if we take a look at market cipher B, we'll take a look at like a 2-day here. You can see money flow is in the green on the 2-day. We wiggled around down here. We tested that value area low 1 billion times. Money flow crossed over into the red, letting you know that the trend would likely continue to the downside, and that was indicating that you might get the breakdown of the range. I would love to see the breakdown of that value area low, but you can see here that 2-day money flow is not quite that close to the zero line just yet, right? So we do still have some work to do here, hoping that the money flow continues down. If we could get back down to that value area low, see that money flow cross over into the red on the 2-day, that is where we could say maybe we're going to lose this range, right? Hopefully we do not, right? And again, just like we talk about the Fibonacci extent, I'm glad that we talked about those retracements on Bitcoin, right? Because it's the same thing here. If we come up and we get above this 786, that would invalidate the highest probability area where that lower high would come in. And if we flip that 786 to support, in my opinion, I think 66.21% is next, which is not going to be a very good sign for altcoins, right? And I think we know why, right? Bitcoin dominance up, altcoins down, right? So it's still in a very similar situation that we've been looking at on the live stream here. We are seeing a little bit of resistance here on that golden pocket 786, but really the key level that you do not want dominance to get above is 64.71% at that 786. Flip that. I think it is a pretty good chance that we come up to that next macro 786, which obviously wouldn't be that fun. Taking a look at the daily here. We do have the daily red dot printing, so maybe we could see that come down just a little bit more. And again, maybe you see altcoins pump a little bit, right? But again, if we're talking in terms of like major altcoin season, for me personally, we just have to be patient here, guys. Because again, you don't want to just be like looking for alt season as if it looks likely that dominance is going to continue up. Hopefully, we don't have to come up to the value area high. That would be crazy. But, again, it's not really until we decisively start losing the value area low of the macro range, sitting at 60.95% with money flow coming out. That'd be a nice confirmation that we are going to start that big saucy dump to the downside to start alt season, right? Not these little sneezes down, little pumps on altcoins, right? We want full-blown altcoin season. And that's, basically what we're looking at. Same thing that we looked at last week, but just a quick little update on the dominance for you. And we even covered Total 3 as well, right, in a very similar situation, just in the opposite manner, right? We flip this upside down. It's like, it's kind of like the same thing, right? So, just as Bitcoin is attempting to hopefully lose its value area low, we want to see Total 3 reclaim its we want to see Total 3 reclaim its value area low as dominance is losing its value area low, right? So the level there is going to be about 931.2 billion. Flip that key level, value area low to support. That's where we could potentially see, again, like if you look at this, go below the low, get back in, reclaim it as support. Then you could hope to go towards your POC of the range, which may have been the case back then. Not quite. But you hold that value area low, you look for the continuation up, you come back down, you deviate, you get back in, finally to the POC and the high, and then you get the big rejection down, and then it melts down, right? So, it's just like a typical volume profile. We're just looking at it on Total 3 and dominance instead of the typical price chart. So hopefully we can flip that value area low as dominance loses its value. We want dominance to do that. We want Total 3 to do that. Right, that is what I'm looking at for alt season. Not just based off of this happened last time, right? Just actually looking at the charts. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Sir Lamont. Yeah, it says if you can't handle a 19% dump, you should not be in crypto. I would agree with that statement generally. It's you got to be willing to stomach these ups and downs, especially in altcoins, right? Like a lot of people who are, worried about the bear market being here. They were holding altcoins and they're like, what the heck, is this a bear market? But when you look at Bitcoin, you're in a clear bull market. This is clear uptrend. This is a bull market. And I think a lot of people get confused when I come up here and say, hey, we're in a bull market for Bitcoin. Obviously, alts are getting crushed. But this is undoubtedly a bull market, right? We've been in a bull market for some time. That's why I was not freaking out at the lows here. I was anticipating a higher low before higher highs, and we can now say that has come in. But I think it's the altcoins that are causing a lot of pain for people, especially new people that come into the market. They hear about the fast money you can make in crypto. They want to jump in. They want to get rich overnight, and they're not prepared to endure, especially this cycle, a brutal altcoin correction. I would definitely argue it was absolutely brutal, but they're not ready to endure that, right? Because they're new, right? And that's totally expected. I felt that too in my first cycle. So take a look at Ethereum here. Key levels. Oh, baby. What is that? I don't know if that's our move to the downside or move to the upside. And there's the retracement to the upside, right? So just kind of showing you guys how you can use Market Cipher B, right? We had that 15-minute green dot looking to print. So we anticipate the retracement up, right? Now, hopefully, maybe we just rip from here. But if we continue that retracement, remember, that's a green dot. Green dots indicate the ebbs. Green dots and red dots are the ebbs and flows, right? But money flow is coming out here. So we'll see if this is going to be a retracement up before a lower high and a lower low, right? But we saw that 15-minute green dot incoming, and you did get the little push up. But the context is king here. We'll see what happens. So we'll just wait to see if we put a lower high in, and I'll just leave that alert down here below the low and see if we break it. Not guaranteed, but we'll see. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Golden Child, said alt season is a myth. It's just a story our grandparents told us about. Shout out to Golden Child. Oh God, I feel like an oldie here now. Oh, I remember the golden days in 2017 when the altcoins would rip. But yeah, let's continue in here. Shout out to Paper Planes. Welcome in, bro. He says, bing bong, stuck in traffic. Shout out to Paper Planes. Well, I will just sensually whisper in your ear, my friend. Let's go. Anyway, let's continue on here. So taking a look at Ethereum. Kind of the same situation that we've been looking at. Anchored VWAP has been holding, obviously. One thing that we were looking at, which let me pull up Market Cipher B here real quick. Looking at this green dot on the daily, right? Let me fix my hat here. I got my hair tickling my forehead. But yeah, as long as we hold above this anchored VWAP / POC of the macro range, guys, we're just looking at this as a volume profile, right? So you get above the value area low. 2100 was our key doorway to higher prices that we were looking at forever. We get above that level. POC is very likely to get visited. We come up, we push to the POC, we flip it to support, and now we've just kind of been consolidating up here above this anchored VWAP. This anchored VWAP is very important. This anchored VWAP is pulled from the previous high here at about $4,100. And if you're wondering how you use the anchored VWAP, again, I am going to be dropping a tutorial video on the channel. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or the next day. I got to finish cutting it. But we're going to be dropping that. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I like to use the anchored VWAPs. I talk about them all the time, and I've been talking about doing a tutorial, and I finally did it today. So keep an eye out for that. But this is a huge level of support, level to flip to support in order to look for pushes up on price, right? It's the same thing on Bitcoin, right? And I actually go over this example in that tutorial video. I show you how we use the anchored VWAP to anticipate the potential push into all-time highs, right? If we pull up that anchored VWAP real quick, right, we have the anchored VWAP from the high, all-time high. We knew that not only if we approach that level would this be a massive level of potential resistance, but we understand based off the context of the market, this is just showing us a key area on the chart that if flipped to support could be reversing the trend from a massive downtrend into a massive uptrend, right? And again, you're not just using this alone, you have to use this in accordance with money flow, right? So we saw that money flow was coming up here, and that's kind of why we said, if we get up here and flip this to support, that money flow coming into the green, we hold that very high chances that we would come up to the $105,000 value area high of our range, and very likely all-time highs, right? That anchored VWAP had a lot to do with that. But it's not just that. So stay tuned for that tutorial video. I explain it in detail, but it's the same thing on Ethereum, right? We get the drop to the downside. We get the bullish divergences on the higher time frames. Money flow comes up. We start to crack into our upper value area. It's almost the same exact setup. We crack above the value area low. We get above the anchored VWAP. And where is that next move? Into the POC. Obviously, the POC on Ethereum is a little bit lower here, right? We're already above the POC, which is low-key even nicer, right? So you get above the value area low. You flip the anchored VWAP to support. Next stop is the POC. Flip the POC. Next stop is the value area high. If we take a look at Ethereum, we've already gotten above the low. Our anchored VWAP is very similar here. As long as we stay above this level, we can look for that bigger move up towards our macro 7-8 or golden pocket retracement / daily naked point of control. Have a couple levels in here. Pull up that daily MPOC, right? Daily MPOC and golden pocket is sitting in this zone here. This is the next major target to the upside for Ethereum, in my opinion. 29.75 up to about 31.54. Big level to look at. And yeah, I mean, you do have a daily up there, but other than that, other than this little daily sitting at 28.19, really the bigger levels are sitting up here. And when you just think about the volume profile, it's like, hey, get above the low, go to the POC, stay above here. Could look to continue our journey through that volume profile. Sure, we might get some turbulence, but eventually, maybe we can get that fill of the macro range. Exactly what we saw on Bitcoin. And you might say to yourself, well, Bitcoin's flying and Ethereum's underperforming. Well, this is very, very typical in crypto, right? Bitcoin kind of steals the show for a little bit. Then Bitcoin kind of consolidates. Maybe it starts to cool off, and then Ethereum follows suit. Now, I want to be clear here. This does not mean we're just guaranteed going to get an instant rip up to this level. We have to take the new information as it develops every single day. But from a general perspective here, we are inside our major volume profile. If we get a bigger correction from where we're at right now, for some reason we lose the POC, I'm still going to be watching the two biggest key levels of support, sitting between 2100 at the value area low, down to the golden pocket at 1945. Lose that golden pocket, I'm looking down towards the 786 at 1796, and then we'll cover some of those lower levels as they come, right? We'll cross that bridge if we get there. But at the end of the day, as long as we remain just generally inside of this range, we could look for a potential continuation up through the profile. Hopefully, we can get it sooner than later. But if we get a cool off, you want to be aware, right? Like, we're going to get cool offs at some point, right? So you want to understand the context of the market and understand that this might not be the most bearish thing in the world. As a matter of fact, you might want to be looking for bounces here for even higher highs to come. So there you go. Take a look at the 2-day here. Money flow attempting to cross over into the green here, just like on Bitcoin. 2-day money flow crossover into the green would be a very, very nice sign for a continuation up on Ethereum. And very similarly, a lot of these 2-day money flow crossovers do indicate big moves to the upside. Last one we got did give us a nice little push up here of about, call it 37%. And then before that, this is a little bit more similar to the scenario that we're in my opinion, right now, because you have the 2-day money flow crossover. Here, you had it right at the value area low. At that point, you're anticipating the overall trend to continue up. Doesn't mean you can't get the little pullbacks, right? Like I said, red dot green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. But the money flow is the indication that the overall trend will continue up. And then you use your volume profile as a guide on where price is likely to go next. Once you get above that POC, you could start targeting that value area high, obviously understanding the local levels you have in between. But at the end of the day, that's the overall anticipation. And right now, we are already inside of our volume profile. So even if we get a pullback here, as long as that money flow is still coming up, we could look for higher lows and higher highs. The money flow will always indicate the longer term trend. I will say that every single day, multiple times until I die, because that is the truth, right? And that's how we're able to predict a lot of these bigger moves. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Say congrats to everybody in the market before millionaires are made. Yay us. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Let's go. Let's go, baby. And if we do continue lower, right, I'll just say this, right? Is it impossible to get another low here on Ethereum? Absolutely not. But again, as of right now, right, context would say key support, key support. But, if we do wind up, in my personal opinion, once you start losing about $1,600, that is, again, say we get a much bigger dump to the downside, you start losing that 786. That's where we could potentially get the bigger drop to the downside. And just to give some honorable mention levels there, pull up the, once you lose that 786, let me re-pull that. Right, once you lose that 786, you're also losing the value area low of your range here. At that point, we could potentially anticipate another low. But again, that money flow doesn't look bad, right? So as long as that money flow continues up, maybe this changes, but as long as that continues up, we have to look for higher lows and higher highs because that's what the charts say. If that does change, we can start to look for lower prices. And although we're mega far away from this right now, we could potentially anticipate a move down to our macro value area low of the bear market range towards $1,300. And if it got really scary, we could potentially... Oh, I don't have this range pulled. But if it gets a little bit more bearish, I'm not going to spend the time to pull the chart, the level up right now, but about $1,000, we have another key value area low. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're still very, very far away. So yeah, other than that, I'll look for that, daily green dot printing. Currently, 90-minute, 80-minute money flow crossed over into the green. We'll see if we can continue that trend to the upside. And you guys have that next target. Locally, it is going to be that daily sitting right here, 28.19. Flip that. We're looking into that golden pocket. Daily naked point of control. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at on Ethereum. If you guys want to see your favorite altcoins, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. Rob the Crypto Snob will count up the votes. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Good to see you, bro. He'll make a list. Let's do like 3 requests, Rob, tonight, and then maybe I'll do some free ball the rest of them. Shout out to CT. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Where are we at? Can we check? Can you check Cat Dog, please? Hidden Gem. Shout out to CT. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Cat Dog. Maybe I'll just jump into that right now. Cat Dog. Let's see here. I assume this is a meme coin. Yeah, this is gonna be hard to find a. Oh, there we go. Okay, on MEXC. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, I would say this is probably going to be a, looks like a meme coin to me. But I will say this. This is kind of hard, right? Like, there's no real, if I look at a higher time frame, there's no information here. You had a weekly green dot print. Monthly, there's no information on market cipher B. I mean, this thing has just, gone down. It looks like maybe it's forming a bottom. I can't really say if it is or not, based off the TA, right? There's really nothing to read here. What I could do is I could potentially give you some key levels to the upside. I will do this very quickly just because, meme coins sometimes just don't respect the TA, which is very common, but unless that has like a higher market cap, you do have a monthly level sitting at about 32380. That would be a massive, massive level to get above. Taking a look at the weekly here. You do have a week. No, that's tapped. That's tapped. Yeah, you don't really have any. Let's take a look at the daily. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you do have a daily here. I'll give you some local targets to the upside potentially. Horizontal daily. Let's pull this from here. You got another daily here at about 110.32. And then let's pull some of our retracement levels to the low. Yeah, so this would be a big zone, right? Again, there's like not a lot I could do here on this chart just because of the way it is. Just trading to the downside. I can't really pull any profiles or anything like that. But I would say this monthly zone here would be, if you can get a massive pump to the upside, that would be a big, big target to look at, because this is a, yeah, I mean, this would be a significant Fibonacci retracement. You have it in line with the monthly. And that is probably, I mean, that's honestly, that's going to be the biggest target I would look at, like on the higher time frames, right? But probably going to take a little while to get up there unless the thing just like Lambo candles up there. But yeah, and then you can watch these two dailies. You could screenshot those levels. But other than that, like very hard to make a call here on Market Cypher. It's like, it's almost impossible to make any like legitimate calls based off TA on something like this. And at the end of the day, if it is a meme coin, right? Meme coins typically don't, a lot of times don't respect the TA, right? Like it's really all about, hype. You get hype in this thing, people just start buying it and the thing starts flying. I also don't know the market cap, so depending on the size of the market cap, it could start moving pretty quickly. But those are some technical targets I would be looking at in the long term, right? But yeah, very, very hard to do TA on something like that. But hopefully, shout out to, who said it? Shout out to CT. Hopefully that helps you out somewhat. But yeah, it's just like impossible to find any kind of like significant signals here. But those are some levels I would be looking at to the upside. And yeah, there you go. Shout out to Cat Dog, one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid. Let's see. There's the altcoins. Too many hidden gems. Yeah, you got to be careful. Thank you for checking Cat Dog for me. No problem, CT. I wish I could give you more, to be honest. But yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to like make some kind of fake scenario here based off of like a low probability kind of situation. So, but those are the key targets I'd be looking at. Hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, you got to be careful with the low caps, right? It's like anytime we're pumping like crazy, guys, a lot of the altcoin, everyone's like, this is the next Doge. And I say this every time we pump, guys. It's like, this is the next Doge. This is the next whiff. And then, then we get a big dump. All those coins go to zero and never come back. And people are like, what the heck? And it's you just got to be careful, right? Anytime you buy meme coins, you want to understand what you're buying. So yeah. Let's see. Shout out to Poppy22 said, this bull run equals what are altcoins? Shout out to Poppy. Yeah, it's been a bit brutal lately, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get some kind of alt season to come in. I know there's a lot of theories out there that we will not see an alt season. I don't know if I believe that, but definitely not impossible. Shout out to CG Beats. Welcome in, bro. He says, what up, Frankie? Or what's good, Frankie? Shout out to CG Beats. Welcome in. Flexing that check mark, baby. Good to see you in here again. All right, let's shout out to Rob the Crypto Stomp. Here comes the alt list. ADA AVAX XRP. I will also do some freelance. I'll do some freelance altcoins for you guys as well. But yeah, let's see. Replace pin message. Bada boom. There we go. All right, so we'll take a look at Cardano. I'll write down a few extra here on my handy dandy notebook here, guys. All right, so I'm gonna write down some of the ones that I saw spammed here in chat. Okay. Shout out to Gen Z. Okay, so I got some written down here. We're going to take a look at Solana, XRP, and then we'll take a look at ADA and AVAX, and then we'll jump into the other ones as well. So let's go ahead and jump on into Solana, which obviously is in this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, guys, just because, again, same situation that we've been in. Just tapping between the value area high and the value area low. We're just kind of bing-bonging around between these two value areas. And this is kind of a situation where I always say when you look at the volume profiles, guys, it does oftentimes, not that we have never had any kind of value in here. I mean, you could probably even pull this volume profile right here. Just going to do this to see if this is getting respected. Yeah, somewhat getting respected. So it's not, I wouldn't say this is totally new value. But again, like the major value areas here on Solana, you obviously have your major volume profile right here, right? That's your major area of value. And then you have your upper value area right here. The thought process here is get above this value area low. You could get accepted into your bigger value. I will say this about Solana, guys. The biggest level, the doorway to higher prices, just like how on Ethereum, the doorway to higher prices was $2,100, and now we are sitting up at $2,600, right? You flip that value area low here on Solana, sitting at $183.91. Once you hold that as support, the next target is very, very highly probable to be the point of control of that range, which sits confluent with our golden pocket right here. Let me pull this up. Bada boom, bada bing. Where is the range POC, right? The POC / golden pocket. Now, obviously, this is a larger range, so I'll just kind of separate this between the golden pocket and POC. Next major target would be sitting between 216.35. That's the major target. And if you continue to push up, you could potentially push into the golden pocket at 224. Very simply put, flip this to support. Next target, $216 for Solana. Get above the golden pocket. You'll probably get some, you'll very likely get some turbulence here. But once you get above that golden pocket, I'm looking up towards the value area high. Now, locally on Solana, key levels to the downside remain almost exactly the same. We do have to pull this fib back up to this current high here. Yeah, so golden pocket still sits in pretty much the same level we bounced off of. I love that we held this golden pocket as support. And again, the biggest key level support right now, other than these lower levels, is the value area high at 166.77. As long as we don't get accepted back into this range, we could potentially either just bing bong around between these two value areas in anticipation of eventually flipping that to support at the value area low above. But until then, we might just kind of bing bong around between these two value areas. Doorway to lower prices, technically, and by lower prices, I don't mean zero, right? Because we do have support here. But if we do cool off a bit more, we get a bigger correction. I will be looking at the golden pocket sitting at around $160. If we lose that, 786 sits at about $153.77. This is confluent with the value area high and the POC of our little local range that we had here before getting the bigger breakout. That would be level number 2. And then if we get accepted into that local range, I'm going to be looking down towards the POC. Major level of support. We lose that POC, it's a bit more bearish, in my opinion, looking down towards that value area low. But if we're going to keep this bullish sentiment, right, if we're going to keep this bullish uptrend, I would be looking at these, honestly, these higher lows and higher highs are absolutely beautiful, right? Come on, malware, get out of here. We get above the low, flip it to support, POC, higher low, higher high, higher low. Come on, baby. Give us that higher high. Give us that higher high. But if we cool off, value area high sitting at 166.89. Big level of support. You get stuck underneath here. We can look at these local levels. But again, just like on Bitcoin, we don't really want to spend much time down here, right? If we do, the most bearish bullish scenario, right? This wouldn't make me think we're going to zero if we came to the POC. I don't know. At this point, I would kind of rather hold. I would really prefer to hold above that value area high and then look to break that value area low above. Now, local levels on Solana, you do have this nice kind of ranging price action. So if we just hide the macro range here, you could obviously just look at this locally within this local volume profile. Value area low sitting at 167.89, POC sitting at 172.20, and then the value area high, which we're projecting right now, is at about 178.76. So yeah, they might just bing bong around this local range, deviate below. We could look for potential longs back up to the value area high, right? From the low, flip the low to support to the POC, flip the POC to support, back to the value area high, deviate above, get sucked back into the range, back to the POC, and now we're just kind of getting resistance on that value area high. So if we do come back down here, value area low, deviate below, potentially look for another potential long situation, pushing us back to that local value area high, and then eventually, sure, this is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, but once we break out, 183.91, you heard it here first, 183.91, flip that to support, $216.90 is very likely next for Solana, but not too bad. We're just kind of consolidating here. Doesn't look horrible in my opinion. So yeah, 2-day money flow again. Still trying to trend to the upside with everything else. So we'll see how this develops, and we'll check in on it tomorrow. And those are the key levels I'll be looking at. All right, let's jump in here real quick. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Jay Violet dropping the LFGs, baby. Let's go. INJ, CG Beats, shout out Jesse and Rob. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I love it. Shout out to CG Beats. He came in here recently, and he's already a part of the family. Let's get it. Just writing down a couple more altcoins that we might take a look at here. All right, so there's Solana, Ethereum. Let's go ahead and jump on XRP, which is still, oh my God, man. This is brutal. XRP's just been in the same exact spot forever. It's literally been sitting in this exact same spot. So yeah, contextually, if that's a word, is that a word? That's got to be a word, right? I don't know. I'm a trader. I'm not an English teacher. But yeah, if we take a look here at XRP, guys, obviously flip the low. At the end of the day, you're looking for the POC. We got that. Flip the POC, value area high. We actually did see, as we were approaching this value area high, we saw the very clear bearish signs at the value area high. This is where you want to be looking for. I think Mrs. Candles is spying on me. We look at this, higher highs on our price action, lower highs on our momentum waves into the key level of resistance. At that point, you look for the rejection, back to the POC. And we tried to Mrs. Candles? What are you doing? Can I sniff your hand real quick? We need Bitcoin to pump. Come on in here. Oh, come on. It is very hot in here. Come on in. I would love the fan to go on and... Okay. Anyway, guys, sorry you had to see that, but I had to put a little extra sauce on it. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Yo, I'm not going to lie. Mrs. Candles is getting, I don't know. She might be getting too big for her britches here. She just kind of comes in and just ditches us. She used to kind of hang out. Unbelievable. But anyway, shout out to Mrs. Candles. Yes, sir, gang. Shout out to CG Beats. Let's get it, baby. But yeah, we saw the 4-hour bearish divergences into the value area high. And I will always say this, guys. I know it sounds repetitive, but when things are so repeatable like this, we are always going to show this. The anticipated move here, guys, to be quite honest, hopefully we can just kind of continue our higher low and higher high situation here. But we really do not want to lose this daily naked point of control at 221 in confluence with the 786, because the idea here is, hey, sure, you rejected the value area high. POC is very likely next. We tried to reclaim, but once you get stuck under the POC, where are you expecting price to go next in terms of the volume profile? You're going to be looking down towards that value area low, currently sitting at about 205. However, with the context of the market, with our daily money flow aggressively attempting, I shouldn't say aggressively, but just like fighting for its life here, trying to stay in the green. 2-day money flow not looking as good, but again, this is something to look for. If we get the bigger cool off, we lose that golden pocket. Daily naked point of control, 786, is really the level I want to hold. This is the lowest I'd really like to go to continue to look for higher prices. Not that if you lose this, you're going to zero, but we could just say from a context standpoint, or contextually, if we lose that daily naked point of control, 786, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that value area low. Is that the worst thing in the world? Not necessarily. It's just not as aggressively bullish, right? Like really what you would want to hold here. You do have the golden pocket of the entire move, right, from the low to the high, sitting just below that value area low. So, at the end of the day, if we did lose that and we came to the value area low, we could potentially look for, another deviation below the low, back up to the POC, back to the high, and then maybe then we get the breakout. But if you want the breakout sooner than later, in my opinion, if you don't hold this golden pocket, that daily naked point of control 786 is the level to hold to just kind of continue the aggressive rip to the upside and get the bigger breakout to higher prices. Maybe even into a $4 or $5 XRP. But we'll see what happens. So other than that, we're just looking at this as a typical volume profile and just understanding the context may be bullish here. Once you lose that, you're just back in the context of your volume profile. So there you go. But yeah, that's what we look at on XRP. Let's take a look at Cardano, and then we'll jump into some other stuff. Freaky Candle. Shout out to Endry. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. Did you guys see my tongue come out of my mouth? I don't typically lick the hand. I usually only sniff it, but I don't know. When you got when you need Bitcoin to pump, sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. And guys, did you see her hand? Did that look like plastic to you guys? I'm telling you, she's real. I'm not just making up girlfriends here, or am I? Anyway, all right, let's continue on here. $17 XRP. Shout out to Level 9 Christ Seeker. Shout out to you, bro. Usually, people come in and say, hey, $100 for XRP, and I'm like, not a chance, right? But at least this cycle, I guess. But I'm not going to lie. Not that that's the first target I'm looking at, right? We do have all these upper targets. If we did go into a traditional alt season, we see the FOMO, we see the traditional bull market play out, with alt season like you typically expect. My highest target that I'm looking at as of right now is about $15. I don't know if you're going to get up there, right? Again, these are the first major targets. We'll have to reassess. I'm a level-to-level trader, guys. If it looks bearish up here, I am not going to wait for $9, right? I'm going to take my profit on my XRP. And I'm going to be taking profit along the way no matter what. But, if it looks super bearish up here, I'm not just going to hold my bag in anticipation of $15. So we'll reassess the situation if we get up to these higher targets. My highest target that I would be willing to look for in a super bullish case, around $14. The next major Fibonacci extension level really sits at around $20, I believe. I don't really anticipate that. But, hey, shout out to Level 9. That sits right between about my last target, target number 4 right here, and the last Fibonacci target between $20. That $17 target, maybe. It's not the first thing I'm expecting, and definitely not guaranteeing that. But yeah, I like the more realistic price prediction than normally people calling for XRP to $10,000. I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, I hope so, like I always say. Nobody wants XRP to go to 10K more than me, but again, it's got to be, likely or realistic at least. So I like that. So shout out to Level 9. But let's go ahead and continue on. Shout out to Hugo, said I'm sweating. Yo, shout out to Hugo. Are you sweating on the are you sweating on your Bitcoin long? I assume is what you're talking about. But yeah. Let me just jump in here to Bitcoin real quick. Just make sure we're not missing anything super important. Okay, so we'll see here. Let me hide that anchored VWAP so I can actually look at the chart in a normal way. Let's see here. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Just trying to track. We'll see if that alert goes off today, guys. And we talk about 15-minute green dot, lackluster retracement for another lower low. Again, it's not guaranteed, but I just like to show you guys how you can anticipate. I think really the only way to understand how to look at market cipher, how to anticipate what moves and signals mean what, is to really just watch it happen in real time. So I try to narrate the price action for you guys as it develops. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Vegas Claw, bro. Vegas, you got me and Tony D cracking up with the Frankie Candles jokes. They're like the Drake memes. Like Drake, the kind of guy to whatever. I shout out to Vegas Claw. Said Frankie, the type of guy who thought Donald Trump was made at a Simply Orange factory. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Let's see. When 100K has a different meaning now. Yeah, shout out to Trey Flip. Yeah, it is. It really is crazy how quickly things can change. It's like, oh my God, finally 100K. And now it's like, if we go to 100K, it's going to be bearish. It really is crazy how fast things can change in crypto. But let's go ahead and jump on into Cardano really quickly, guys. Come back over to the alt template here. Jump on into the Cardano chart. And as you guys know, yeah, to be honest, not much to update here. Key levels still remain the same. We had to come down to that golden pocket. We got the bounce to the upside. Key level of support, this is already tapped, so I wouldn't look at that as significant. So I would actually kind of move that down to the 786. But it really does run up to the POC, to be quite honest, right? Between the POC and the 786 is your key level of support. You have the anchored VWAP from the bottom of this downtrend, and again, we'll be dropping that tutorial on the anchored VWAPs. I show you where you should be pulling these from, how you can use them. They're beautiful in upward trending markets or any kind of trending market, right? To look for potential good buy the dip scenarios in a long situation. You could just see how perfectly these anchored VWAPs get hit. And again, I will cover that in detail in that tutorial. But if we continue down here, guys, lose the POC again, I would really prefer to hold that anchored VWAP 786 zone here, right? And that would enable us to hold the higher lows to potentially put in another higher high, breaking structure to the upside and continuing our push into the macro value area high. Other than that, I mean, this is pretty much what we've been looking at on Cardano. Nothing has really changed here. We're just kind of stalling out. But at the end of the day, you've flipped your value area low. You've gone to your POC. You've held the higher low, broken above the POC. We're holding the POC as support. That's the level you're hoping to hold. If you lose it, you're hoping to hold that 786. If you lose this 786, in my opinion, you'll also likely be losing the anchored VWAP, which in my opinion would open the door to potentially come back down to the value area low. So these key levels of support remain the same. The POC down to the 786, sitting between 73 cents towards the POC and then 68 cents down towards that 786. I would not mind getting the cool off and bouncing again, right? Again, holding those higher lows, continuing the trend to the upside. And then you would obviously target your value area high as your next major target. And yeah, I mean, taking a look at market cipher here, let's take a look at the daily real quick. Your daily money flow is, again, just kind of stalled out here. It's a little bit flat. Hard to take anything away from that. Your 2-day money flow, again, trying to trend to the upside, looks very similar to everything else. You do have your 3-day red dot. You have your 4-day looking to print the red dot. Your 5-day looking to print the red dot. But again, look at your money flow, guys. Red and green dots indicate the ebbs and flows in the market. Money flow indicates the overall trend. And just to kind of show that, here is your money flow crossover into the green on the 5-day, for example. Oh, we push to the upside. Red dot prints, little pullback, but money flow is coming up. That makes you look for higher lows and higher highs. Oh my God, red dot prints. You get a little pullback, but you're looking for higher lows and higher highs. right? The trend continuation based off money flow. It's the same thing here. Hopefully, right? Hopefully it plays out like that. But more often than not, if you get that red dot, you could get a cool off, right? Even if you come back down to the low, right? But you're looking for higher lows and higher highs over time. The trend, if that money flow stays in the green, right? The trend is overall continuing to the upside, very likely. The red dots would call for the ebb or flow down. So it's kind of why I'm still, like it doesn't look bad, right? Like that money flow crossover to the green on the 5-day. Last time we got that, you got a little push up, a little correction, and the continuation of the trend up to a new high. This was kind of like a fake out, but still continue to the upside. And we spent a decent amount of time in the red here. Like even here, we came up, and then we fake back into the red. Yeah, I don't know. I don't hate that 5-day money flow crossover. Taking a look at the weekly, VWAP also coming down. Like I said, bigger corrections on altcoins, bigger corrections on Bitcoin. Weekly red dot is probably where the next big one's going to come. Now, again, I'm not someone who just calls for alt season all the time, and I'm not calling necessarily for it right now. But, if we're going to put in new lows, I think the highest probability time for that to happen is that weekly red dot. Doesn't make it guaranteed, right? But if that weekly red dot winds up printing, we're going to be looking at that 5-day money flow. Is it deep in the green, right? Is it coming out, crossing back over into the red? In that case, maybe we do put in a new low. But as of right now, we are simply within our volume profile. Maybe we cool off, right? Like I said, there are some potentially bearish signs on the lower time frames. We could cool off a little bit, like 3-day red dot. Could easily push you down more. But again, we're inside our profile. There are times where you could lose the POC, test the value area low, and then continue up to higher prices. So overall bullish. Short term, might be able to get a little pullback. That's what I'll be looking at on Cardanzo. Let's see. Shout out to Pose. Says, Frankie for once, Tia, please. Shout out to Pose. Maybe we actually haven't taken a look at Tia in a while. Let's take a look at Tia. And then I'll jump into some other free-balled altcoins. CandleMafia's John Cena, what is going on? Says, the trend pretends to be your friend until it slaps you in the face. Absolutely. Don't turn your back on that trend because it will... it'll talk trash behind your back. I'll tell you that much. Let's see. All right, let's continue on. Just making sure I don't miss anything here in chat. Vegas Call has something to tell Rob. Oh, God. I don't even know if I want to know what that is. All right, let's continue on here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at AVAX first. That was on the list. I think I have an AVAX chart here somewhere. Where is it at? Am I blind? Maybe I don't. All right, I'll just pull it up here. Actually, I think this is the chart. Yeah. So, I same thing here. If we continue up, next target is still sitting up here untapped. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on AVAX because nothing has really changed. Golden pocket value area low. Still, this whole zone is your doorway to higher prices. Technically, you want to get above the 786 sitting at 3161, but this golden pocket value area low sitting between 2882 and 2726 is going to be the level that you want to reclaim in order to open up the doorway to higher prices, right? 786 could be an honorary mention, but once you flip that 786, very high probability to get into that POC. And at the end of the day, just flipping this purple box here, ending at about 2870, still increases the chances of coming into your POC very likely. Next targets to the upside between 2882 and 2726. 786 sits at about 3154. Get above that, I will be looking up towards the POC at about 3603. If we get the continuation down here, if we take a look at that, money flow looks a little different here on AVAX. 3-day, deep in the red. 2-day looks similar to everything else, trending to the upside. So again, you could cool off here. Key levels of support, we've already held that value area high as support at 2164. If we lose that value area high, POC is going to be your next key level to the downside. We pull our fib from the high to the low to the high. That is in confluence with the 786 retracement level. This would be a huge. Whoops. Come on, give me that dang brush. I'm trying to delete the brush. Getting trolled here on TradingView. There we go. This is really the big level to hold. Like, even if we came down to test that POC, you could still hold the higher low on their 786. Once you lose that, I'm looking back down towards the value area low, sitting closer to 1236. But with the way, if this 2-day money flow continues to wiggle its way to the upside, even if we cool off, you could look for higher lows and higher highs. Value area high 2161 is your first key level. Below that, Your golden pocket sits at about 1931. Lose that. 786 sits at 1722. Do not want to lose that POC. You lose that, I would be looking for lower prices. But right now, money flow doesn't look that bad. Daily money flow back in the red. You do have a little bit of conflicting scenarios there. 3-day red dot printing, 4-day red dot looking to print. Again, high time frame VWAPs could give you the bigger pullbacks. But again, if that money flow, not looking as good. 5-day money flow going to come up. 6-day money flow technically trending up. So yeah, I would still be looking at those VWAPs crossing over. As long as we can hold those higher lows, it might just be a longer term higher low before higher highs. And those are the targets I'd be looking at to the upside. Macro value area above you, value area low, or doorway to higher prices starts at 27.26, POC at 35.98, and then the value area high up towards 49.17. If we put in a lower low, I'll just cover this scenario as well. Like, let's just say we dump and we just get the high time frame red dots give us the massive move to the downside. Value area low is your biggest key level of support at 12.29. But we won't even be looking at that until if and when we come down to play with that POC. We'll cover those lower targets when they become more tangible. So there we go. Let's see. All right, so let's take a quick look at TIA. We have not taken a look at TIA in quite some time. All right, so let me actually... Yeah, this is our... Man, look at that local range just playing out perfectly. Into the value area high, drop back down to low. I'm going to take this off the chart for now. Those are just local. So, yeah, on TIA, we're still just bing-bonging around here. Deviated below the macro value area low. Oh, no, this is the low volume gap. This is not a value area. Crazy. This low volume gap, we broke into that and almost saw that gap fill perfectly. But now we actually do have a little bit of a volume profile that we could pull here. But just to show you guys how those low volume gaps can fill. Like, we looked at this a while ago. Like I said, we haven't taken a look at TIA in quite some time. But we knew that once we broke into the low volume gap that we had below, right? Fast moves up oftentimes lead to fast moves down. We knew if we did not hold that low volume gap and we broke into it, we would see a fast drop to the downside. You could see that play out absolutely perfectly into the end of that low volume gap. But now, you do actually, let me get some of these levels off the chart here so we can update it. So, yeah, I mean, your goal here for TIA, in my own personal opinion, right? We are below our bear market range, and we are just, to be honest, just building value lower and lower and lower, right? Or I should just say, well, lower and lower. So when you look at this, right, value area, we drop down, we're building value at a lower price. So really your thought process here would be, this is your local value area if you're looking for like little range trades on TIA. But if you can get a breakout of this range, really what you want to do here is reclaim this local volume profile. And you want to start doing the opposite of what we're doing here. You have value, you break down, and now we're finding fair value at a lower price. What you want to do is you want to break out into this previous value area above, and I'll draw the levels in a second, and then you want to break back out, and really the biggest level to get above here on TIA, in my opinion, long term, is going to be, and you can see the retest on that golden pocket, right? You pull from this swing high to the swing low, you get the retracement, you tap the golden pocket, come back down, tap it again, lower low. Ugh. I do hold TIA. This is not fun for me to watch. But let me go ahead. We've already rejected that golden pocket, so let me take that off the chart real quick. And I would be looking, although the value area low is still key resistance, I would look at these as two separate levels. This value area low sitting right here at 444 is going to be your key level to get above on a higher time frame, right? Like if we really want this thing to get going, flip that value area low, look to push into the POC. Once you flip that level, that's where you can look into the value area high and a potential bigger pump to the upside. But right now, we are just getting hammered below this massive volume profile. Taking a look at the higher time frames. Yeah, I mean, you did have the 3-day bullish divergence here. Lower lows, higher lows. Money flow just doesn't want to come back up. Take a look at the 2-day. Money flow is trying to come back up. Yeah, I mean, you have bull divs at the low with money flow trying to come up. That's not the worst sign. But yeah, I would say the biggest level to get above right now is 440. Get back inside this volume profile. You don't really want to, like, even if you pull this yeah, I would look at these as two separate ranges if I'm being quite honest. So yeah, locally, this is your local volume profile you want to get accepted back into. Pull it from the high to the low. I'll give you guys these levels so you can get them on your chart. Value area low sitting at 296. POC sitting at 317. Value area high sitting at 368. And you can see here, we came up, rejected the value area low, came up, rejected the value area low, got back in, went to the POC, couldn't hold the POC, and we just got rejected again, man. You want to get accepted into this value. Get above the value area low, get above the POC, fill that range in full. Yeah, these are the key levels I would look at above. You locally want to get above about 296. Hopefully you can come back into this range, and then once you see the bigger breakout, really the bigger doorway to higher prices, in my opinion, sits at 444. 444. Man, I have not looked at my spot bags here on TIA recently, but I'll tell you what, they ain't looking too good. I dollar cost average down here. Might have bought a little bit here, but it's still just, dang. Hope this thing comes back. But we'll see. Weekly red dot is printing. That's not necessarily a great sign. Oh, man, TIA. Oh, come on, baby. You could do it. Take a look at the monthly. No information on the monthly. So, yeah, weekly red dot, maybe a bing bong around here a little bit. Literally impossible to pull any lower levels on this below the current low, because that is literally impossible to do because there's no price action to look at. So, hopefully we hold above, at the end of the day, if you do not want to put in a brand new all-time low here, let's see. Let's pull it from the low to the high real quick. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. That weekly red dot might be able to give us a new low on TIA. Man, that does not look good. We'll see. I mean, the best bet there is the hard thing is that you don't really have many key levels to look at below. I would say maybe you get a weekly bull div, but I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on this. Weekly red dot printing, though. Let's check that 10-hour real quick. Yeah, 10-hour money flow still in the green. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you can reclaim this range. That weekly red dot, hopefully it doesn't push us down too much, but that is we still have 5 days for that to play out. And hopefully unprint, right? It's not confirmed just yet. But yeah, hopefully we can not see a new low on TIA. Yikes. Shout out to Wix Wi-Fi 89 and Wick 589. Welcome in, guys. Good to see you in here. Always the same faces here. Shout out to Django. Let's go, baby. That's the CandleMafia. That's the face of the CandleMafia. Let's go. Welcome in, bro. All right, let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, so we took a look at ADA. We took a look at AVAX. We took a look at XRP. We took a look at TIA. Let's go ahead and jump into virtuals real quick. I saw a bunch of requests for virtual. That's not our virtuals. Actually, I do have it saved here, I believe. There it is. All right, so take a look at virtuals. Let's take a look at, we'll start off here on the daily. Just got my bearings here. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys. Virtuals. What is this? Yeah, virtuals. One of those altcoins. Similar to. Actually, I haven't checked HBAR today. Let me check HBAR real quick. Just because it was in a similar situation. Where's the HBAR chart? Is it MEXC chart? Where the heck is my here. Yeah, HBAR still. And look, HBAR coming into the key level. Golden pocket anchored VWAP. This is that last key level last local key level that we were looking at. Hopefully that anchor VWAP holds. Maybe we'll come back to HBAR in a second. But virtuals being one of those, one of the alts that was approaching its value area low and attempting to flip it to support. Once we hold that level of support, daily naked point of control is finally tapped here at 226. Once you get above that, the next target's the POC of the range. And let me just make sure I have this. Sometimes even just like not having this perfectly pulled can affect if the level was tapped or not. May still be a front run. Yeah, so still just barely front running that POC. No, I like the pull. So, yeah, I mean, flip the value area low, look for the push into the daily naked point of control. This is now tapped. We could take that off the chart. And, yeah, POC still sitting at 261. We barely front ran that. But, again, just within this profile, doorway to higher prices. Tried to get above it, lost it, tried to get above it again, held it, pushed up towards the POC. Flip that POC, next target to the upside, 298. Get above that, looking up towards the value area high at 334. How likely is that to be the case? Well, let's take a look at the higher time frames. Daily, and again, you can see as you have your momentum wave set up here, potential daily bearish divergence, not printing yet. Honestly, not even close to printing. VWAP's spiking to the upside right now. But I would watch this. If you do push into that daily naked point of control, potential possibility of some turbulence. But at that point, right, you're inside your range. I would just look at, remember, it's going to be a journey. Very likely is a journey through your volume profile, not an instant POC value area high. You oftentimes are going to be looking for it to be a journey into that value area high. And those are all the key levels I'm looking at. So next target, still sitting 261, daily naked point of control, 298, value area high, 334. And yeah, 2-day money flow, looking to cross over into the green with a fresh green dot. Not looking too shabby, in my opinion. No monthly information, so we can't even tell if there's a monthly green dot printing, but we could assume that 2-day money flow crossover, looking at other altcoins with more price history, with the monthly green dots potentially looking to print, could call for the bigger continuation of the upside. So even if you do see turbulence here, that 2-day money flow crossing into the green would indicate that any pullback would be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs, simply put. And I would use this volume profile as the guide to higher prices, just like we could use from the value area low to the POC. Absolutely goated volume profiles. And yeah, that's what I'll be looking at on virtuals. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Don't forget to smash that like button if you guys are free. If you guys are free, the appreciate on the altcoin TA. If you guys appreciate the free content here, smash that like button. I don't know how many we have, but let's go for 750. Let's run it up there. I think we could do it. Bada boom, bada bing. What's the name of the money flow indicator on TradingView? Shout out to Nordic. This is Market Cipher B. I'll hit my little button here. You could use our code MCFrank20. I do not say this because I am a paid shill. I say this because I've been using Market Cipher for years. Before I ever had a YouTube channel, before I ever knew Crypto Face, I've used Market Cipher, and it is one of the best indicators you could possibly use. But if you want to save some money, you could use my discount code and use the link in the description down below. If not, just go to, I think it's marketciphertrading.com or just marketcipher.com. So there you go. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Okay. So that was virtuals. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at Pyth, or as some people like to call it, Pith. I prefer not to call it Pith. But anyway, let's take a look at Pyth. Wow, it is impossible to say that word without me feeling like I have a lisp. Let's take a look at Pyth. I believe we have a chart on Pyth. Maybe not. Maybe I will just go ahead and... Yeah, I guess we do not have a chart on Pyth. Let's try to find one with a... most price action here. All right, this will work. All right, yeah. So I'm not going to mark out this whole chart. I'm just going to kind of give you market cipher analysis here. Yeah, 3-day green, 3-day VWAP already below the zero line. Looking to potentially curve up here. Let's check the weekly. Yeah, weekly red dot already confirmed. No monthly information on market cipher. Yeah, you got the daily green dot confirmed. Didn't really give you much here, to be quite honest. Yeah, man, I wish. Let's check the 8-hour money flow trying to come back up. The nice thing here is the red dots are already printed. So it's not like you have fresh red dots at the low here, which is, somewhat nice to see. Better than fresh red dots. But yeah, honestly, this is kind of hard to try to pull this as a profile. So these are the levels I would look at on Pyth. Pull it from the high to the low, mark out the low, the POC, and the value area high. Yeah, I mean, we went deviation below the low, or above the high, get back in, reject the value area high, back to the POC, back to the low, back to the POC. So yeah, right now, locally, what I would say is if you have your 4-hour money flow coming up into the green, maybe you cool off a little bit, but if you can potentially reclaim this POC. Come back up to the value area high. I like this money flow. Red dot potentially incoming. So, again, turbulence might be likely here. But, yeah, you're within your profile. You've already tested the low, tested the POC. You're just looking to hold this as support to potentially call for the bigger move to the upside. Again, this is super choppy. So I'm going to leave you with these key levels. Money flow coming into the red on the daily, where everything else, a lot of other things are either crossing into the green or already in the green. Daily green dot confirmed. Let's check the 16-hour. Yeah, not a lot to kind of just a choppy chart here, to be quite honest. It's hard for me to, pick a strong bias here. 90-minute money flow is coming up, right? But it's just not confluent with a fresh green dot on the daily. So, yeah, this is 100% the range I would look at. Value area low sitting at 12 cents. POC sitting at 13 cents. And then the value area high sitting at 15 cents. So I would just be looking at this. If you wind up losing the value area low here, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But until then, you have the POC and you have the value area low, which obviously are the levels that you're going to want to hold. So, yeah, I don't really have too much to update on. Not even just update on this, but there's not just super, super choppy here on Market Cypher B. So all I can really do is give you the key levels. We can pull up the visible range volume profile real quick. Pull up a higher time frame. Come on, volume. And you can see the break through that low volume gap. You pop in, slam through that low volume gap. You reject the high volume node, back down through the low volume gap very quickly, back into your range. So yeah, you do have fair value down here, right? So maybe you just kind of bing bong around in this range. Eventually, once you break out, I would say the big key level to get above is going to be this high volume node at 21 cents in order to open up the doorway potentially to 28 cents. And again, I wish I had a cleaner, profile to look at here. But you can see, if you just pull this profile, you can see the value area low here is confluent with the start of the high volume node, right? Low volume nodes, typically we get fast moves down, leading to fast moves up, right? So you can see here, if I just mark out this low volume gap, price flies through this level. Even when we broke back in, you fly up through it, right? And then we rejected the high volume node. So I would say once you flip this high volume node, and I'll mark this out with a horizontal line so I can get you guys the tactical level, 22 cents, I would say. Maybe even 21-ish cents. Once you get back above that level, could get a fast move into this value area low, and then once you get accepted into here, you could start getting gravitated towards the next high volume node, which is the POC of the range. So this is what I would look at, and the key levels, not only just the key levels, but also the context. So we'll see. You have value down here. You really want to break out and retest this macro value area low, sitting at 27 cents. Flip that to support. You could start that bigger journey up through the profile. But again, we'll see what happens, right? We have to watch that Bitcoin dominance. We have to watch the total 3 to understand if it is going to be likely to even get these big moves up on altcoins. Give me the dang brush. There we go. So, yeah, those are the key levels I would look at. This high volume node, I can label this HVN. Bada boom. So, yeah, low volume gap. Break that high volume node. That would be the biggest key level to retest your doorway to higher prices. So you have the value area low here / doorway to higher prices. So yeah, we'll see. We're just kind of bing-bonging around that sideways range. And other than that, not a lot to take away here from Market Cypher B, to be quite honest. Just kind of somewhat choppy. I mean, the 4-hour, the 8-hour, and the 2-day money flow looks decent, but just not a lot of confluence, to be quite honest. So I would just be looking at the volume profile here, understand where the low volume gaps are and those key levels that you want to break, because even if you just look at all the price action, again, low volume gap, low volume gap. Get above here, flip this, boom, flip this. You can start to work your way up towards that POC. So that is what I would be looking at on Pyth. I might have said virtuals before. What I meant was Pyth. Sui. All right, let's jump into Sui real quick here. That's not our Sui chart. Sweep. Whoops. That's the same chart. Tether. There we go. So, yeah, Sui. Again, I'm not going to lie, guys. These volume profiles might start taking my job. I'm not going to lie. Especially with the way we teach them. We give away all the secrets here. But let's see. So, yeah, we got the move above the low into the POC. We retested the low back above the POC. Couldn't necessarily hold it, though. But let me extend this profile to the finish of the range. That makes a bit more sense. So, yeah, you could argue you tested that value area high if you pull it to right before you break down. I'm actually going to change. I'm going to keep this. I would look at this as a separate range, though, because you can see how tactical this previous range was. But there's two ways to look at this range. You could look at it here, or you could pull it to right before you get the bigger breakdown, which does lower the value area high, which is what you rejected off of. But it does not make these upper levels invalid. So at this point, in the context of this profile, I would say still your biggest key level of support here, daily naked point of control, anchored VWAP sitting at about $3.22. That could potentially maintain your uptrend to push into your 446 to 453 value area high 786 retracement level. And if we pull up that retracement real quick, just grab the settings. Bada boom. Bada bing. Yeah, we came into that golden pocket. We got the rejection. Right now, you're technically living below your POC, but what I would like to see here is if you can come down and hold this anchored VWAP daily naked point of control as support, could potentially continue that move up towards the larger value area high. And again, the reason why I talk about that second range pull here, if I go ahead and hide this, and we pull that same range over to before we got the bigger breakdown, and you draw that out, you guys can see that you have the value area high, golden pocket confluence. All right, so you look at that as kind of like a local range. And even if you look at this too, right, you're technically still holding above that POC. These are just, I would generally be looking at both of those ranges at the same time, right? I would have them in separate folders. I would turn one off, turn the other one on, turn one off and one on. But yeah, just to give a little context of what kind of you saw here, right? You did push into a value area high. It was just the extended profile. This is still key support though. So yeah, this would still be the overall macro range in my opinion, right? So if you do get the bounce, push up here. Major target still remains the 786. Once you get above that golden pocket, next place for price to go very likely is going to be the 786. Once you get above the POC, next likely place for price to go is going to be the value area high, and those levels are confluent here, again, at about 450. Taking a look at market cipher B. Green dot looking to print on the daily. Money flow not looking great on the daily. 2-day money flow. Again, I think we have to be patient here with the altcoins. I think this 2-day money flow crossover is going to give us a really big indication of when the bigger pump up is going to continue. I mean, we already did get a massive pump, right? Don't forget that, right? Ever since April, right, we've gotten a 155% pump on SUI, right? This is where a lot of people will FOMO in at the top and then freak out when they see the first big correction. So it's important to understand where those key support levels lie. And again, in my opinion, the next biggest level of support, daily naked point of control, down to the value area low, and this other daily naked point of control with the anchored VWAP, sitting between 323 all the way down to the value area low, 310, and then honorable mention. I mean, it would really be this whole zone. Sitting between 322 and 298. That's what I'd be looking at on SUI. Again, I think we just have to be patient here. Let things play out. If we get the bigger pullback, understand where the key support is. Simply put. All right, let's jump in here. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Shout out to CandleMafia. John Cena says, SUI with the pig emojis. Let's go, baby. Let's go. TARS, shout out to Brian Varney. I will go ahead and take a quick look at TARS, and then we are running out of time here. So let's take look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Not the biggest profile ever, but TARS, as you guys know, recently I'd updated a lot of these alt charts with fresh levels. Let me just go ahead and grab the horizontal ray so I can mark out the high, mark out the POC, mark out the value very low. So yeah. at the end of the day here, value area low, retest, flip it to support, POC, play around with that POC, and you guys could see here, it is never, or not, very rarely, is it just flip the value area low, flip the POC value area high, right? It does get confusing, it does get scary, and that's why we have a lot of those local anchored VWAP levels, right? I just knew that one was going to be there. That's why we have those anchored VWAP levels, the Fibonacci retracements on areas where we would look for higher lows and higher highs, right? Because it is always going to be kind of a messy journey up there. Now, in general, we flip the value area low back to the POC. POC acts as a magnet, but eventually we do make it back up to that value area high to fill the volume profile in full. There is literally no other tool that you can use in trading that will ever be, in my experience, as accurate as a volume profile. It is like, once you get back accepted into that range, there's about an 80% chance that you will see that range fill in full. If not, right, there's a very high likelihood that you at least make it to the POC, which gives you plenty of time to take a trade, take some profits out at the POC, move your stop loss to break even for a guaranteed winning trade. And more often than not, if you're entering here, taking profit at the POC, moving your stop loss to break even, oftentimes, if you're going to continue up, you don't even have to revisit the entry, and you could just enjoy those guaranteed gains, right? If you get stopped out, you get stopped out in profit, and you still win the trade, right? So yeah, just generally, we saw this profile fill in full. Very nice. You're obviously at resistance here, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little bit of a cool off on that resistance. But I would say this: if you don't just, you might just continue to respect this range a little bit. Again, this is your fair value. When you deviate below that fair value, this is now imbalance, right? Like this is where you're going to be looking for price to eventually start to seek. Once you get the bounce here, you're going to look for price to seek out another area of fair value, which at the end of the day, this is really the only one they had on the chart, right? You didn't really build any value on the way down. It was kind of a straight dump. So once you start retracing, you're saying, well, hey, probably going to start getting sucked up towards this value area. And that's kind of the idea here. And let me just see this real quick. If I pull, I don't think this is going to be the case, but let's pull it from the high to the low. Yeah, that's still pretty far away. Just check some of these fibs. Pull it from this lower high. Pull it from this lower high. So yeah, I'm going to say this, right, on TARS. You have this upper profile. I might actually have this on the chart already. Bada boom. Yeah, so you pulled right into that resistance. See if I have that upper range. Yeah. So I would say this. Breaking above this 786, in my own personal opinion, is going to be 786 sitting right here at about 18 cents. If you could flip this to support, this is your best opportunity to reapproach your upper value. If we impulse out of this range, price is very likely going to get attracted into the next area of fair value, which sits up here between value area low 26 cents. Your POC is pretty much in that same exact level at about 27, 28 cents. And then once you get above that, you can look to the value area high at about 38 cents. So just in general, this is your kind of zone of resistance. You've already rejected the golden pocket value area high. This could still give you some resistance if you push into the 786, but if you get above that 786, I would be looking to get gravitated up towards that upper value. Just like price leaves and gets attracted back into this area of value, if price leaves here, we're going to get attracted into this upper value. Simply put, it's just a game of rotating value between profiles. That's what I would be looking at on TARS. Upper profile, I already said the levels, and biggest level to break above, in my opinion, is to invalidate the 786 at 18.5 cents. So, guys, with all that being said, that's all the time we got for today's live stream. We're already went over time here. Is this over a 2-hour stream? Unbelievable. But hey, guys, when I don't stream on Mondays, sometimes we got to make it up on Tuesday. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for allowing me to come up here and share this TA with you guys. Shout out to Boss Man. Shout out to Early Birdie. Shout out to CandleMafia's John Cena, Harry Potter, Vegas Claw, Tyler Durden, all the mods. Smash that like button on the way out, and I'll see you guys here tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to go edit and finish editing the Anchored VWAP tutorial. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm going to get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah.
Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up from my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Shout out to Gig Along Bottom said where to go. It said bye daddy. Shout out to Gig Along Bottom. I'll see you later, son. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. Right here. That's all I got. I gotta go cut this video. Hasta pasta. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out.